Welcome to Van Lathan's The Red Pill, where we give you the brutal reality of truth. Listen to that. My voice sounds a little raspy right there. Got a little Tina Turner. On this week's episode, Jaleel White. Now, obviously, Jaleel White has been in the entertainment industry as an actor for decades. You guys know this. It shouldn't surprise us that he has some unbelievably funny, engaging, and insightful stories about having been in this industry so long, but he does. I think everyone listening to this podcast was blown away at just the amount of gems that he was able to drop. We'll say something else about this podcast. Jaleel White brought a couple of party favors to the situation while we were recording this, which made this podcast even more loose. It was fun. That's all I'm going to say about that, man. I was on my job. Anyway, you're really going to want to listen to this if you've ever tried to make it in the entertainment industry, if you've ever tried to navigate Los Angeles, and if you just want to hear the story of someone who had fame and notoriety thrust upon him at a young age and had to fly the plane while it was still in the air, like my man Nip said. Jaleel White will give you something that you can use from this podcast, okay? This is one of the most insightful, funny, engaging ones we've ever done. Very proud of this. It was great. Pop some pills. Let's get into Jaleel White. All right, a couple things I want to talk about. We're coming off the heels of last night's NBA Finals game in which the Warriors were able to stave off elimination in a one-point victory over the Toronto Raptors. During this game, something happened that I have to sort of address. Kevin Durant re-injured himself. He tried very bravely to play in the game last night to help his team rebound from the 3-1 hole that they were in. And early on in the game, he injured his Achilles. We're not sure how KD is going to recover from that, how long he's going to be out, but typically an Achilles injury is a very serious injury, and it looks like he might miss some time. While this happened, there were people on the sidelines in Toronto that clapped. And there's a little bit of debate about whether or not they were clapping because KD was hurt or whether or not they were clapping because of a play that had happened on the court. I guess there was a steal. But I've seen video, and you can watch video at home, of people not only clapping but waving as if to say goodbye to him. Now, obviously, there's no one that would argue that that is appropriate, right? I mean, I'm sure even fans that committed that act would say that they were probably wrong with the gift of hindsight and, a night to sleep on it. I will say this, though. Whereas you're going to hear a lot of people saying, "Yo, we're sorry. This is not really us. This is not an indictment of the fans in Toronto alone." This is a teachable moment for all athletes, especially the black ones. These people don't care about y'all, and I hope that you remember that. I hope that you remember they don't care. They don't give a damn about you at all. This is like any other thing. They care about what you're able to bring to them in terms of winning, notoriety, and what makes them feel good. Okay. In the history of America, forever, black people, as entertainers and athletes, luminaries or whatever kind, have been used and exploited for making other people feel good. And at the moment that you're doing that, you're exalted. At the moment that you're putting a smile on their face when you're dancing or you're singing or you're acting or you're shooting a basketball, you're exalted. The moment you ask for anything, ask to either be respected as a human being as you exercise your constitutional rights like Colin Kaepernick, ask to be respected as a religious man as you exercise your religious rights as Muhammad Ali, the list goes on, you will be vilified. So they'll turn on you like that in a snap. Now, obviously, those two situations don't compare to someone injuring themselves. But the point that I'm making is whenever you guys see an athlete trying to get every single dime of his or her worth from an organization and you use words like selfish, you use words like self-centered, you use terms like not team-oriented, I'm simply saying that you don't know what you're talking about. You have no clue what's actually going on, because these are people that are looked at by organizations, by fan bases, and by the general world as commodities. They perform, and when they perform well, they're rewarded. And when they don't perform well, they're discarded. It's as simple as that. You saw a human being on the ground last night with a very serious injury for simply trying to help the organization that he is a part of. Kevin Durant didn't have to try to play last night, but he did. And you saw people, albeit in a visiting place, laugh at the fact that he was hurt. It's disgusting. Now, when these gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen, because it happens to um, women in sports as well, when they make decisions that at all prioritize their long-term future, their long-term dollars, their long-term reputations, you have all kinds of things to say about them. But when they are down with a busted tendon in their leg, you laugh, you point, you smile. Listen, not going to go on too much longer. I'm just going to say these are the moments that athletes, anyone, need to remember. Remember that while you're out there, you play for your teammates, you play for yourself, you play for your family, you play for your community. But you should not ever play for them, because they wouldn't do it for you. Play to represent where you came from. Play to represent the ideals and the morals and the values that you have, to represent the generational, to secure the generational future of your family. But don't ever think you're doing something for a jersey or for a bunch of people who really don't care about you, because they don't. I love the Lakers. Love the Lakers. But I got to love my brothers on the Lakers. I got to love the players. I got to try to view these guys as human beings. I'm not watching the NFL right now, but I love the Saints. But I have to understand that the Saints are made up of 55 human people with human concerns, human needs. That's important. These people are real, flesh and blood. I know they make a lot of money, but let's treat them as so. All right, we're going to get into Jaleel White, but I have to address one more thing. Last week on TMZ, there was a story that was run. The story involved T.I.'s sister, Precious Harris. I'm sure everybody knows what went down by now. The findings of whatever. TMZ published a story they shouldn't have published. Okay, they did so through and in spite of the strong objections of a lot of voices in the office. Mine being one of them. There were a lot of people that felt like the story didn't have very much news value, and that, quite frankly, it was distasteful, and I would say it was a disgusting story. Now, when this happens, obviously, people look and they go, "Yo, Van, you're in the building. How could you make this happen? How could you let this happen?" There are two answers to that question. One is that one matters and one doesn't. One is that I don't control what goes up on TMZ. While that's true, it actually doesn't matter. It's, in my opinion, part of my function to be accountable to the community that I represent as long as I'm in this building. And if something is done to cause that community pain, then it is on me. And it is on the other people that consider that to be what it is that they do here. I once talked to a very wise brother from the Nation of Islam, and we're talking about doing the story. And he said, well, just to let you know, we love you, Brother Van, and we love the things that you try to do, but if we talk to you and something goes left with this story, we will hold you accountable, because you are the person there that we have to hold accountable. That is a fact. I, despite my strong objections, despite the sick feeling in the pit of my stomach that I had when I saw it on the site, have to apologize to T.I. and to the Harris family. Have to. Wouldn't be a man if I didn't. Have to apologize for the pain that they went through. It was needless. It was gratuitous. And he was absolutely right about everything that he said. And that's me sitting here really hoping that God grants that family the grace to get over the loss of their loved one, and that going forward, they are empowered by her memory, and that they are comforted in the fact that so many people loved her and so many people loved them. And I apologize. All right, pop some pills. Let's get into Jaleel White. White people in the room, clap for Jaleel White.
Hey.
White people in the room, clap for Jaleel White.
Hey. Come on, we only got 2 white people in the room. You can't. We don't have the bandwidth for more than that.
Sometimes we got 2, sometimes we got 3. But the common thread is Jaleel, they are white.
Brother, I just love that you got a room.
We got a room.
No, you have a room. This your name is on here.
I've been able to carve my own shit out.
It's people out here in this town that have been here for a long time, and they don't have this in a room or on a parking space.
I appreciate that. Well, I don't have the parking space yet. We're still working on that.
Yeah, no, it's a big ass parking space.
One day we will have a parking space. My brother,
what's going on?
How
this thing's close to me right
are
now.
you? Well, you want to push it back a little bit?
Yeah, I want to push it back a little bit.
By the way, tell me, what am I chewing on right here? What is this?
I brought you a little edible, man, a little candy, man.
Yeah. Jaleel trying to get us fucked up here on the Red Pill Podcast.
Man, listen, dog. It's the afternoon, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Let's start happy hour.
I'm fucking with it.
Let's get it popping.
Right. See, here's the thing that happens, right? So you're talking about someone in Jaleel White who's been independently wealthy since he was 13 years old.
That's what it's called.
Right. As you're talking about somebody like Van Lathan who will eat this, finish this, and then has to go outside and go back to work. Brother, what is up with you, man? How are things?
I'm good. I actually had just released a new show on Netflix.
Telling me about this.
Called Historical Roast.
Okay.
It's figures from history roasting each other.
Oh, okay.
It got a better reaction than I thought. I was a little nervous about it.
Right.
I was happy with my part, but I played Nelson Mandela and Muhammad Ali. And
they roasted you. Now you're roasting someone as those guys?
Yeah. So in the Nelson Mandela one, it's Nelson, Barack, and Rosa Parks roasting MLK.
Wow.
And in the Muhammad Ali one, it's Bruce Lee, Babe Ruth, and who's the other person? Elvis roasting Muhammad Ali.
Wow.
And Howard Cosell, played by Jeff Ross, the roast master.
Well, I saw Jeff Ross talking about this.
Right, yeah. So Jeff always plays a character too, and he's pretty much the moderator of it all. And it's gotten really good reaction, actually. You just get nervous sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm reading it. It's Jeff Ross.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot of sit-down jokes on Rosa Parks.
Yeah.
It's a lot of sit-down jokes.
When I saw Jeff Ross talking about it, because I think I saw Jeff Ross talking to Jimmy Fallon about it, right? Yeah. And when I saw Jeff, because it was produced by the, I saw it on the OBB.
Yeah, the OBB Boys.
Yeah, OBB Boys. Yeah. Great guys, produce great content.
Michael Ratner.
Yeah. So I saw it on their Instagram. I saw Jeff Ross talking to Jimmy Fallon, and when he says, we roast MLK, I started going, oh shit. What the fuck are people gonna say when they roasting MLK?
Yeah, I know.
Do they go all the way there?
You gotta watch it, man. It's kitschy. Like if you're in bed with your lady or whatever, you just chilling late night, you got the pizza, whatever, you want to put something on, and you're gonna laugh.
You're gonna laugh.
Like you're gonna laugh.
Are they,
it's not Game of Thrones event TV. You don't need to invite people over to the house to watch it.
Right.
But like if you're waiting on your flight and you got your Netflix account open,
you will not be disappointed.
And your headphones on, go ahead and get your chuckle on. People are gonna look at you and be like, "Why are you looking at your screen and laughing?" That person.
Now, are you anticipating any backlash?
You know what? That's why I was real reserved with it. You know what I'm saying? You kind of have to just kind of put the content out there and then duck for cover these days.
Right.
But no, people who enjoy this kind of content, they lapped it up quick.
Right. Okay.
Quick. Yeah. My Twitter's been very kind to me. I don't even really go on Twitter that much anymore, but my Twitter's been very kind to me, and it's been nothing but overwhelming response.
Have you heard of what they just said about Dr. King? Did you see that article?
No, I didn't. Did something come out outside of Black History Month that I need to be concerned with? What?
They just
Normally we all settle this in 1 month.
we all get through the whole look at John.
Right. And then, but
You want to know something about John?
Jussie tricked off Black History Month this year. That's
You think he ruined it?
He tricked that whole thing. You guys asked me coming out of Medeo. It was like the guy led me with the question. He was like, "Do you think that Jussie tricked off Black History Month?" I'm like, "I'm getting in my car.
Yeah,
right now.
I'm out of here.
We didn't have enough facts there.
Right. Yeah. I'm still fucking with
But that
Jussie.
happened in February though.
Yeah.
So
I'm still fucking with Jussie, bro.
you still ride with him on it?
I gotta ride with him.
I judge no man, honestly, unless somebody's been harmed.
Yeah.
That really is kind of my line.
Yeah.
When someone's been harmed, when there's been an assault, an attack, or then I feel like I go in. But there's still it don't add up though. One plus two ain't three right there though. It's
not. But look, man.
It's not, dog.
We going to war. It's a culture situation, man. We gotta believe our brother. If look. If Jaleel White ever has something, you call me up like Van, I didn't do it. I'm gonna ride with you. I'm gonna ride with you, bro. I'm gonna ride with you.
You a damn lie.
That is true. I'm gonna ride with you.
You a damn lie,
bro. Part of cultural trust is I'm willing to look stupid for my brother. Man.
Wow. All right, I'm.
And by the way, I've talked to Jussie. He maintains his 100% innocence.
Oh yeah, you got to do that. I mean, he fights for it. Yeah, no, that's requisite. You know what I'm saying?
You got to do that.
Yeah, it's got
deny. He said, listen, I believe it.
There's got to be food in the fridge. So,
it's true. It's true. So this project,
just dropped on Netflix.
Just dropped on Netflix.
Yeah.
For a guy like you who has had such an iconic career, how do you choose now, like the projects that you get involved with?
Based on how much money my daughter needs. You think there's this cost of having a child.
Right.
And then you discover the cost.
Oh, it gets a little bit more.
Yes.
Yeah.
All calculations are off.
All calculations are wrong.
Yes.
So you thought you knew.
I'm passing that on as wisdom to you.
Right.
Yeah, so all calculations are off.
What's so expensive about having kids?
Mainly, believe it or not, is private school.
Oh, okay.
And that's you think, snooty private school, but no. Once you start to dive into it and you see what the options are for your kid,
right,
you realize it's a really amazing opportunity to set your child's peer group.
Right.
And you start to see the differences in our public system. Mm-hmm. We were driving past the picket lines and wishing them well,
right,
for real, because I was jacked up at the beginning of the school year
with the LA school
teachers.
Yeah,
with the LA school teachers, exactly. Thanks for clarifying. But and I was letting her know too, like that's not going to happen at your school.
Right.
You get a chance to attend something a little extra special.
Right.
So there's that, and it's just like I said, just life stuff though. But I was being glib. Really these days any chance I get to feel really funny.
Okay, word.
That's hard. That's what people don't get now. That's really difficult to get in the space where you're driving home on the 101 from one of these studios or whatever, and you're like, that was funny.
Yeah. You feel good about it.
Yeah,
you feel
because
about it.
There's so many cooks in the kitchen now.
Right.
There were so many fewer cooks in the kitchen when I was a kid that people don't realize what I did could never even occur right now.
Really?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Couldn't even happen. Couldn't happen.
Tell me why though, because you know what? It's funny that you say that, because I remember an era, and the era seems to be gone now, and the era was of, and I'm not talking about like stuff like Grownish, I'm talking about even younger than that, of primetime shows being led by kids. Like there was an era with, even because let's be honest, like the show was an amazing show, but like once you came on the show, it was kind of your show, right? Like, I mean, not to respect to all of those guys.
Man, you ain't got to be PC with it, man. We done popped the edible. We here.
Right.
No.
But I don't want to.
If I start slurring my speech, please forgive me.
Right. But what I'm saying is the show was already something that we enjoyed. But then when your character popped to the next level, it was Steve's show, right? But then not only that, but even before then, you had Punky Brewster, you had Webster, you had a lot of shows that were driven by younger artists. Yeah. You're saying what happened back then couldn't happen now. Yeah. What specifically are you talking about?
So now all of television is secular. So it's like if a kid is going to be at the helm of a show, That was why Me, Myself, and I didn't even work. If a kid is going to be, that was the CBS show I just did 2 seasons ago. If a kid's going to be at the helm of a show, they consider that children's programming.
Wow, so it can't be for everybody.
Right, so they predetermined this can't even be for everybody. CBS didn't even know how to. Jack Dylan Grazer was essentially the star of our show. Bobby Moynihan was the second star of our show, and then John Larroquette. They all played the same person.
I remember the show. It was like he was older and he was younger.
Right. So it was a very, very interesting premise, and it was a high concept premise that I liked, and it was single camera. I liked that too. I knew how they were going to shoot it, but Jack Dylan Grazer had like 30,000 followers when we shot the pilot.
Yeah.
It came out when we got canceled. He had 2 million followers.
Wow.
So I'm like, again, I'm scratching my head going, how did these people over the age of 60 not figure out how to market a 13-year-old with 2 million followers? Oh, they put us on at 9:30. And so all the kids who would watch him are going to be in bed, and they just don't even care.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's where you just kind of get lost in the machine.
Right.
There's no one person to point at. It's just it's very, very difficult, man, to make programming that is intended for everyone, because now you've got some data king sitting at his desk that's going, oh, no, you can't be all things to everyone. It's like, how? That's what The Simpsons were. That's what this show was. You know, you can't be all things there. No. So that's predetermined now. So if you want your adult content, you go to HBO. If you go to Showtime. If you want your kids' content, you go to Disney Channel. You go to Nickelodeon. So that's what I mean. I'm like, I would never be at the helm of a show right now on primetime television that was solely dependent on me.
Right.
Like if you even notice, they changed the name game has changed. You used to have Seinfeld, Roseanne, Frasier, shows that were either named after the person or the character.
Right.
Grace Under Fire. So networks were like, yo, they got too much power. If it's named after them, they got too much power. So they're no longer taking the stand-up act from a proven stand-up comedian and building a show around it. They're like, oh, that's a hot stand-up comedian?
Right.
Cool. We'll sign him to a deal, but we'll create the show for him. It won't be based on his act.
Right.
And we won't name it after him because that's too much power.
Right.
So it's like all of these factors create identification, iconography, and they're stripping that, man, and just turning it into an IP that we own as a studio.
So do you feel like this is ruining television in a way?
Television's getting better, actually.
Interesting.
No, so television, no.
It seems like it's heyday of
yeah,
television.
it's weird. It's like I can report on this, I can share about what's happening, but I don't have sour grapes about it. But you definitely, it's double dutch. The ropes are turning. You just got to figure out how to jump in when you're for yourself. But now there's so much content. Like I think everybody's like on episode 3 of like 10 different shows on their DVR, right?
No, bruh, like I'm watching. So I'm watching Doom Patrol, right? And I gotta finish Doom Patrol now because Black Mirror is gonna start, and then I gotta finish that because I don't want the shows overlapping because then I gotta have Handmaid's Tale. It's like it really becomes like you're doing homework with your television watching at this point.
Exactly. So and then I even know there's steps.
She's gotta have it on Netflix. I'm getting through all this. Like I'm doing all of my stuff because I want to have that.
I'll give you the new
before
steps
Insecure comes back.
I'll give you the new steps to viewing. Back in the day, like I said, when I did my thing, that wasn't nothing but black people all throughout the country calling each other, going, "Girl, you should see this boy on Friday night," and the ratings started to go up. That was it.
Right.
It was phone calls, and nowadays, if you see an advertisement or you hear somebody mention something, maybe you throw it on a DVR.
Yeah.
You still don't watch it. Now you start to go, maybe you're on social media. You hear people talking about it.
Yeah.
You hear people tweeting about it or whatever, or Instagram and something like that. And it's like, and you be like, okay, wait a minute. That's on my DVR. Now I need to go watch it.
Bruh.
So we have to be led to the content so much more.
Bro, dog, I had heard the show I'm talking about, Doom Patrol, which is fantastic. I had heard that Doom Patrol was good, right?
Right.
I heard that it was good. I remember one day I was like, yo, I'm going to go ahead and download the DC Universe app so that I can watch Doom Patrol. But for some reason, I couldn't find it, didn't know, out of my mind. I did a podcast, a great podcast, Nerds at the Cool Table, and they were talking about all the shows that they watch, and they started talking about Doom Patrol.
That's right.
And they started talking about how great Doom Patrol was, and I was thinking in my head, fuck!
It's already, I had it.
I should have watched
I
that
had
goddamn
it.
Doom Patrol.
I could be here talking to them right now.
Right, I could be the fucking smartest nigga in the room on Doom Patrol right now. But I didn't watch it. So you know what I did? I took my ass home and I downloaded the app, and then I started the fucking show.
So you needed 2 calls to action to even watch the show you already knew about.
Yeah.
That's just how things have changed now, man. People are that busy. So I have such tremendous respect when an audience becomes a fan of a show, because I realize how many calls of action it took to get them there. There is no there's very rarely you get your Game of Thrones, whatever, where everybody's going to be home at 9 o'clock on a Sunday to see what happens.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen like that anymore. And if that does happen, oh man, back up the brinks. But it just doesn't happen anymore.
So I know so many people who have had shows that have lasted a couple of seasons. When you're out here in LA, one byproduct of living in LA is you come out to LA. I came out to LA in 2006, right? So what I started doing is I play basketball with guys, and then all of a sudden you're sitting down and you're watching a Buick commercial, and then the nigga that you play basketball with is getting into a car going, Buick, the only car for me. And you're like, oh, shit.
Well played.
Right,
well
you
played.
know what I'm saying? You're like, oh, my God. So I've known a lot of people who have been on television shows that haven't been successful. You've been on a television show that was wildly successful.
It was all thanks to everyone.
Right. How hard is it to actually have a hit show?
It's tough in the sense that people feel like I'm in control of it. Now, to a certain degree, I have a lot of say over if anything else were to happen to it going forward. Mm-hmm. And that's why there's pretty much nothing settled. I don't know. I'm like Bill Murray. Like, I don't know if I'll ever do another Ghostbusters. I don't know.
Right.
Like, I mean that.
Yeah.
But it's not entirely our call. Right. We work for a system that determines the value of the property and then comes to talk to us. Mm. And I'm always so envious of musicians. I think when you really earn my respect, bro, is the Kanye moment.
Yeah,
That's the iconic moment of your life.
Right. See, and that's
the shit happened by accident.
Right.
I know you didn't, but when you stood up, when you just rose up, oh boy, something happened in your life, homie. And that's how iconography happens.
Right.
But I've always been envious of people like him. Mm-hmm. Because there's no barrier between him and his audience.
Right.
The internet truly neutralized the music industry.
Yeah.
And Justin Bieber's not even putting out music right now. I enjoy a good Justin Bieber concert, by the way. I have a 9-year-old, so
you fuck with him. He's a good performer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I thought the Purpose album was great.
Yeah, he's good. The kid's good.
But back in the day, if he at this rate of production, a record company would have been frustrated with him. And they would have been like, where's the product?
Right.
He doesn't need that anymore. He has so many platforms with fans waiting for any Instagram or any Facebook or
he
any.
Can keep them satiated until.
Exactly. That it was just like, think about it. The Rose Bowl holds 90,000 people. Mm-hmm. Justin Bieber got 100 million followers.
Right.
The Rose Bowl can't even hold 1% of his following. Mm. That's less than his likes engagement.
Right.
The whole Rose Bowl.
Right.
So he can cancel shows if he wants to and be like, you know what, I'll try this again in 3 months.
Yeah.
To have that kind of power where you can access your fans with the production value they're accustomed to seeing you with, that's the trick right there. So they take the stage. They're going to have all the accoutrement of their performance. Mm-hmm. Well, if you're a TV actor, you're waiting for, I need lighting, I need directors, I need insurance, I need stages, I need a network to sign off on this and say this is our brand before anybody sees anything I've even made. Mm. So there's a giant barrier between my creative vision and my audience. Mm. And you try to mitigate that, especially like I love it. I love IG. Yeah. I mean, anybody wants to come to my IG, like you just gonna have fun. Right. Because it's my sense of humor. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and I follow other people, and I started like Real Earthquake. I love when Earthquake jumped on. It's so, if you know Earthquake, You know, it's so his sense of humor.
Right.
I discovered how funny Wesley Snipes was.
Yeah, Wesley
Snipes, one of my top follows, dog.
Wesley's one of the most interesting follows.
Oh man, right?
Wesley though, yeah.
You wouldn't think that.
Yeah.
Because again, he's packaged as Blade and he's packaged as this.
Yeah.
Stepping outside of that, Wesley is on a whole nother, he kind of hovering above us.
And has like really deep, interesting. Sometimes another guy like that is, you know who's like that? Orlando Jones.
Yep. No, I would expect that. Orlando.
Yeah, Orlando Jones.
Wesley, I didn't expect. I thought he would be full-blown action star, but Wesley is kind of zen.
Nah, it's very, very true. It's very, very
But
true.
he's in with jokes.
Right, with jokes.
He's in with jokes.
Right, with jokes. Nah, it's definitely true. So having grown up in the system, because like you were so famous so early on, looking back on it, would that have been your preferable route to get to where you are now? No. Why you say so?
The preferable route is to have.
And if you don't know, Jaleel White was the star of Family Matters and was a cultural phenomenon. I just say this because they're like Jaleel White starred as Steve Urkel on Family Matters and was a cultural.
Don't leave out Myrtle and Stefan and all them.
Oh, excuse me, Myrtle and Stefan.
I mean, we're gonna go back there.
Right. I'm just saying, and like was a legitimate because this doesn't happen very often. Seriously, this was a legitimate cultural phenomenon on a Mr. T. I'm so serious. Like when I say that, I mean. The whole
No, I know. You made me laugh because I wanted a Mr. T doll when I was a kid.
Right,
so,
but Mr. T had it all.
Yeah.
Mr. T had cartoon, doll.
I never got a cartoon. I wanted a cartoon.
Never had a cartoon.
I never got.
But you had doll. You had cereal.
I had cereal.
You had doll. You had cereal. You had the whole nine.
Pajamas, board games, all that.
The whole fucking nine. So
Yeah,
legit phenomenon.
Yeah.
So, at how old was that when you?
12 to 21.
12 to 21. So, looking back on it, would that have been the preferable route? Like you said.
Nope.
No. Why do you feel that way?
I don't like the way youth are treated in the industry. There's a clear double standard for youth. And there's also many forms of discrimination in our business. Like, most people will never even talk about the number one discrimination in our business. It's not race. It's not gender. It's age. Ageism is huge in our business. So many people stave off embracing what it is to get older. They dye in their hair, they Botox, and this, that, and the other. Because bottom line, if you get branded old, hey, on to the next.
Yeah.
So there's also a pay scale that people don't talk about. And, you know, typically a white male who is your Clark Kent action figure, you know, potential action figure, is going to get paid X number of dollars. And so forth and so forth and so on. And kids are just at the bottom of that. They've always been at the bottom of that. They're going to stay at the bottom of that. I think from presidents to business affairs, you have a lot of people who've gone through a lot of formal education to get to where they are. There's a tremendous amount of resentment that this kid is making this much money per week, blah, 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 blah. And it shouldn't be taken that personal. At the end of the day, it's, you know, what does the kid mean to the property? And it should be that way. NBA doesn't look at it that way. There's a different standard, but again, a black guy dribbling the basketball is the highest standard of who we pay.
Right.
So on our side, no. If I had to do it all over again, it would have been nice, if possible, to make it when I was a little more knowledgeable about how the world works. So just so you didn't have to take so many bumps and bruises going through. Like, that's my adolescence right there. You know, I had to learn. I'm learning life lessons, and I'm going through negotiations, and I'm learning. You know, I'm just learning how to just talk to a girl,
right?
You know, and get somewhere.
Yeah, I feel you. By the way, that must have been crazy too to be that famous when all of that was popping off. How much did you indulge?
You know.
Look at Jaleel. Jaleel, no, boy. I tell you what, you are lucky that happened then. Because I'll tell you why.
Oh, I am.
Because if that was today, and you were the biggest star on TV with them DMs going, you are, bro. It would have been crazy. But what was it like in that pace growing up in that way?
You know, in one sense, man, See, this can get deep though. I gotta be careful. I popped that edible. I gotta chill. Give me some water. give me some water. Give me some water.
Yeah, give me some water, man.
You asking me deep questions. Listen, dating. Thank you. Dating as me, as a teenager in the '90s, it's a show in itself, man. It's a show in itself. You know, because everybody knew me. You didn't have to like me, but you knew me.
Right.
And so that presented an immediate obstacle at all times. Then you get to the point where you start to enjoy it, where it's like, yeah, you know me.
Yeah,
right.
You know, girl.
But
Friday night, TGIF.
right, but then as the dynamic becomes more complicated, you learn not to enjoy it.
What complicated it? What?
Running around with these damn NBA ball players, man. You start to attract the wrong ones.
My mom said that about you.
What? What you mean?
Check this out.
You see how my voice went up?
True story. True story. True story. There was a show that used to come on. I don't know if it still comes on. And it was hosted by Ahmad Rashad. It's called NBA Inside Stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. You were on that show.
Yeah, I'm sure I did. I need to know about
right.
that.
And so you were on NBA Inside Stuff, and it was talking about. Are you a Knicks fan?
At the time, I was.
Right. So it was talking about.
I'm not happy with these Knicks right now.
Right.
I'm talking about the Xavier McDaniel, Charles Oakley.
How could you be happy with the fucking Knicks right now?
Yeah, I'm like
So
those guys.
so like
Greg Anthony. I mentioned them all.
Right. Charles fucking Smith.
Yeah.
Patrick. John Starks. All of those guys. So you was you were a Knicks fan, and it was showing you. It was talking about how much you love to play basketball, and that was the whole bullshit narrative of you can hoop. That's when that whole dumbass narrative started.
You see this dude? I ain't even taking a break, man. You know what I'm saying? I got a daughter now. Chill, man. I ain't got nothing to prove.
But and so my mother was watching the show with me one time, and it showed you like you were like talking to NBA players and stuff like that, just how much you knew the game, how much you liked the game, and how much you were around. And my mom was like, "They need to keep that baby away from them grown ass men." and I was like, huh?
Are you making this up?
I swear.
Are you pulling a Rob Palenka on me right now?
I swear.
Are you
Hey,
pulling
yo, I swear. I promise. And my mom would always just have these little flashes, right? And she would just say
And I was
stuff.
on the screen.
Well, yeah.
It was me.
Well, it was
You
were
weren't
on
Alfonso.
This was you.
It was me.
You were on NBA Inside Stuff. I never forget it. And I don't even think that it showed you, like, because it was just talking about, because they would do little featurettes about stuff like that. It was just like,
I was deep in bed with the NBA back then.
Right,
So
and they were just talking about it.
was good times.
And my mom was like, because my mom had, known some pro athletes. And my mother was like, yeah, they should keep them away from the men. Y'all think them be some nasty men. And then I was like, what you mean they be some nasty men? You saying that? And she was like, never mind, son. Watch your program. But guess what? I had never thought about that. She was right.
First of all, half of them aren't men. They're boys.
They're boys. They're boys as well.
Boys with big checks, man.
They looked a lot older then than
You know
they
what I'm
look now, though. They
Well,
look like
I
kids
think they're
now.
all pituitary cases. So they, when you think about it, dog, you've been 6'6" since you're 14 years old. You done had grown women sizing you up.
Right. Now, that happens to our brothers a lot, too.
While you're going through puberty. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? You're entering puberty, and you have literally 30-some-year-old women going, I think he can make it, girl. This is the first round. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I say, that changes your level of experience.
Mm-hmm.
Even Darius on our show, man, who played Eddie. Darius and I are our age gap is 6 months.
Really?
Yeah. So I think that's an amazing dynamic that I would love to share that people don't realize. So,
God damn.
Darius was a giant then.
He was fucking massive.
Yeah, and yeah.
Right.
Right. So, Darius and I always joke. Professionally, I was his big brother. I just saw things in comedy and being on the set that was like, hey, you should try this. You should try that. And socially, Darius was my big brother.
Man.
And, I mean, even when I went on my first date, I couldn't drive. I had been so busy acting and just trying to get good grades, I forgot I should probably learn how to drive.
Right.
So I met the chick first, then had to learn how to drive, and that gap was creating a lot of tension for my situation. So I hit up Darius on the set. It was like, hey man, can you like take me on a date?
Right.
And, Darius was like, yeah, she got any friends? And it was like, and that started that. So I had to go call her. And this was back when we had answering machines where the light would blink. So you got home, you were excited because if it was blinking 3 times, you had 3 messages.
Right.
And it was like 2 from your mom and then 1 from her.
Right.
One from her. And then, so she said she had a friend, and Darius took us out on our first date. BMW 535i, zipping up and down Ventura Boulevard. His side of the date went great. Mine was trash. I lobbed him up nice and then fell into the stands my damn self.
That's how it always happens, bro. Yeah, that's how it always happens. So, but that entire situation, like growing up like that, it must have given you invaluable insights. Sure. So it must have been amazing.
Listen, if you're gonna be on this planet as a storyteller, then you gotta collect stories.
Right.
I got stories.
You do. You also got by the way, when we was growing up, we realized what happened with Stefan.
What happened?
We realized one day I was talking to my brother. I was like, man, this nigga want to show people that he's suave too. So he had them create a character. So he had them create a character to where he could show, cause like the whole Stefan angle was so crazy that we was like, you to be honest, you just wanted to show these. I look good too. That's what you wanted.
Man, is that the street spin?
That's what we thought. We thought
that what they say in the streets
we thought
of
that
DC?
at some point.
Is that what they said?
Because first of all, at one point, like Urkel hit a growth spurt, and then it was
an issue. No, it was issuematic on the set about stuff.
Right, yeah. It's like, this is a grown
talks
ass
about
fucking...
about the jeans.
Yeah, the whole nine. After a while, you was like, you know what?
Man.
Let me show these females what's up.
No,
writers room hooked me up,
dog,
and they did.
I'm telling you, man. Oh man, my life was so charmed, dog. But not because I was spoiled, but because there was just a level of innocence that my family had, man. That's just it's true. I didn't even want to play the character. I did not want to play Stepan.
Really? That seemed like, no? Why not?
I was locked into Steve, and I love laughs. And I got so good with the character that just even with the slightest joke that really worked, I'm reading on table, I'm crush that on Friday. Crush that. Got to crush that. And so to me, the character of Stepan was just boring. So I remember I went to Dave, and I was like, that was our executive producer at the time, and I was just like, Dave, it's a boring character, dog. Like, all he's doing is just over-complimenting every Winslow. Like, that's it. That's it. And, I'm like, it's just me talking like that. And he just kind of, again, people who know more about life, they've lived before you, young people today forget that, there's people that came before you. And he's like, Jaleel, people need to see you like this. And I didn't even understand. I'm like, what do you mean see me like? They see me every Friday. What are you talking about? They see a version of me every Friday. But it was like, all right, but the thing about me as an actor, and you can even see it in historical roles, I commit.
Yeah, you give it.
If I'm gonna act, and there's real character nuances to pull from, listen. If I'm playing Nelson Mandela,
you're there.
He does this in every video I found.
Right.
Every one I found, he does that.
Right.
And I apply that to my character. So gave him my all, just basically played a light-skinned nigga at the time, you know what I'm saying?
There you go. One of the light-skinned archetypes.
That's right.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's basically what I did.
Right.
Anybody that was light-skinned.
It's almost as if Drake studied you.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? Like,
but when I hit that door, to this day, it's the loudest audience scream I've ever heard in that white suit. To this day. And I really wanted to. I have another rule where, we don't break character. So that sometimes you get the laughs going so hard that you break character yourselves, but that could be your best take. So, the G's, the Jack Bennies of the game or whatever, like, everybody could be in here just dying, rolling around over each other. They didn't break character. Yeah. So when that audience screamed...
Jack Benny was a master at that, kids. Yeah. Go look at Jack Benny and just watch some of the subtle ways which he controlled his audience.
Oh, yeah, just with looks.
Yeah.
Just throwing a
look. Little glance or like a hand motion. The guy was great.
So I love that you know that. So I'm like, I didn't break character. I probably became overly suave once I heard that roar. But it was kind of a, my maturation process wasn't nearly as fluid as it is for other young men because of what I was doing. I didn't start really lifting weights at all until I was 19 years old.
Right.
And I didn't really have a desire because I knew my dad is yoked.
Yeah.
Like my dad is yoked.
Big ass dude.
Not big, but like my dad's yoked.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And
So you knew that if you started hitting weights, you
so I
might
knew if
swell
I
up.
hit the weights,
Yeah.
I knew I have a body just like his. I
Yeah.
was like, I'll swell up. So I was very cognizant, especially as I got into my late teens, of the things that I did to my body that could shorten the lifespan of the character. And by the time I got to 21, I was really just physically tired of holding myself back.
Do you realize what kind of, bro, I get that it was amazing, but that must be an incredible burden at that age to kind of carry around, man.
You know, again, like I said, my life was different. So on one hand, it's a burden. On another hand, you're making this amazing living. You're making people laugh. You feel like you're doing the right thing, you know? But the truth of the matter was I did retard my own growth. And, you know, there was a movie, as a matter of fact, that I wanted to go out for at the time. And I grew up being a big fan of Spike Lee's.
That was the guy.
I had three people that I looked up to. Spike Lee, Magic Johnson, and a guy who is now incarcerated.
Who's that guy?
If you had one guess.
A guy who is now incarcerated. Oh, shit.
The two white guys got it first.
All right, because I was thinking about it. Oh, okay, yeah, that guy. Well, listen.
Those were my three. Those were my three
guys,
heroes growing up.
Real quick, I'll say this: Bill Cosby turned out to be a piece of shit, but we didn't know. Like
Exactly though.
Like the reality is that Bill,
I was watching an episode of Cosby Show and I feel like it was an R. Kelly song. Like, am I allowed to watch this
like
now?
like seriously, you guys would have to understand, and I'm talking to a generation right below me, or maybe two below me, is that Bill Cosby at one point, this is why this is so destructive for a lot of us, was the shining example of African American excellence. Not just African American excellence, American excellence.
Comedy
excellence. The most famous guy on TV who outside of it was doing intense philanthropic work, putting kids through school, was Bill Cosby had them create a show about the black college experience. Like, my dad had gone to an HBCU, and my earliest memories of an HBCU,
A Different World is this show.
Was
if you
it-
care to look for.
right, were actually about, they were more about Hillman than they were about Southern. And so like so all of that stuff and such important, so that's why it was so difficult for a lot of people to get to move past it. But the guy is a fucked up piece of shit. It's just the way that it goes. So, but I just have to interject because it's not like it's like he's whose name shall not be said. That was why it was so hard for us.
Right.
So those are your three guys.
Those were my three guys. There was a movie that I wanted to audition for that was a Spike Lee film, and they wouldn't even see me.
Do you remember the movie?
I do, but it could just it takes.
I feel you.
Okay. You know, I don't ever like to disrespect an actor who got the role. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, but there was a movie that I became really passionate, and I knew, I was like, I don't care what anybody said, I would have done the role. It's justice.
Right.
But Spike, you know, wouldn't even see me. And so realizing at that point,
He wouldn't see you because
just not even right for the role. Like, bottom line is, you couldn't even get an audition. So how are you this really giant star, but these couple projects you want to try to go out, they won't even see you for an audition. And going through my early 20s and getting through that, I think part of it also was part the familiarity with the character, but it was also part just needing time to mature. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Jaleel at 22 is not Jaleel right now, physically speaking, mannerisms, whatever, any of that. And that was going to be a dry period that I needed to go through that was going to be hard on my feelings. But it was what it was. You know, that was the era too where everything was gangster. So, you know, so that was all of this hipster, Donald Glover, cool nerd stuff that we're seeing now, right? Right? Like, this shit didn't exist, bro, from 90 to 2010.
yeah, it was the Mekhi Phifer era.
No, I'm saying like that, yeah. That just
Shout out to my nigga, but I'm just
yeah,
saying, like he was a tough brother. You know
it's
what I'm saying?
20 years
Yeah.
of from dead presidents to paid in full.
Yeah.
And where do I fit in that? Oh, he ain't, come on, get up out of here.
Yeah.
So, you know, even Even back then, you had to be one or the other. You had to be white or you had to be black. You would literally, people say, you're not dark enough for the role.
Not
And people
black
said,
enough.
people. I don't get street vibes from him.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're talking about the greatest action star of our time is now racially ambiguous. Like, you can't really say what The Rock is. You know he's
The best thing about The Rock is everybody's got a claim.
Exactly.
Like,
Everybody's got
his dad is black. We claim that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
So that's a completely new mindset. Back in the day, it was like, what? A guy who's an islander saving the world?
Right.
Get the hell up out of here. Where's Sly? Where's
Yeah.
Arnold? Everybody had very specific lanes, and you didn't leave your lane. So when I had to discover as a young man what lane I was in, I didn't like this lane because on the show, I was just simply asked to do whatever I needed to do. So technically, I'm not a leading man. But when I look at my resume, I feel like I've had the scene work of a leading man. You see what I'm saying? But it's like, but the business has to determine that you're a leading man. So I remember another actor asking me one time about another project. So, are you the lead? Are you the lead? I was like, I start hearing more of that, especially with pretty guys with good hair and stuff. They were just obsessed with, are you the lead? I've done 2 leads. And I'm like, what the hell is this lead shit? I'm like, so for me, it was just, you can either act, you're entertaining to watch, or you're not. And that was a very youthful, myopic look at the business of it all.
Right. Now, did you ever think about doing something drastic, like maybe like catching an arrest, catching a case?
I hate you for that. Because I did.
Hey, niggas do that.
I hate you that. No, because I had a friend of mine tell me in the backyard one time that, Jay, you need to do something to spice up your life. Like get arrested or something or whatever. He said the same shit. And I was like,
you guys, I'm telling you, people do that. People do that.
And
people
I was
leak
like,
things and they.
And it was like, you know what? I guess I can chuckle at it. So I'm not mad, but I mean, he was a white guy saying it to me also, so you feel some kind of way that it's like I'm more interesting to you in cuffs.
If I'm, yeah.
Okay. But it was like there's this perception that everything has been roses for me in my life, that I just, swim in money like Scrooge McDuck, and I've been doing it since I was like 13 years old.
I just said that not too long ago.
Right.
Yeah.
There's this perception. And if there's anything I'd like to dispel, that misconception that I haven't been through things that were probably worth sharing at a greater level. But I was just taught by a very, very wise celebrity that nobody cares. So you should probably keep a lot of things to yourself and work them out privately. And
Do you feel like it's still that way? I think that there's definitely a time where it was that way, where there was a certain mysterious aspect to fame and a certain wall between the celebrity and the people. Do you feel like it's still that way? Because I actually
That's a
feel
smart
like
question,
I
man.
actually
That's
feel
why I'm
like
here.
that I actually feel like that is sort of dissipating a little bit.
Well, the way Hollywood was set up in the past was it was set up as a fantasy factory. So people who were going through true downtrodden life could escape by looking at these illustrious stars and dreaming of being made up like that and wearing gowns like this. And so it was the machine. It was Hollywood's prerogative. And when I say Hollywood, all of the studios' prerogative to make sure that audiences only saw the best sides of actors. And then you motherfuckers came along. And you monetized the truth and the reality. And it started being a lot of money in that.
Or a version of it.
But there started to become a lot of money in that. And so now there is no... You used to watch the Oscars or the Grammys and dream of what's going on backstage. I wonder if this person talking to this person... That's content now.
Now there's a camera back there to show you.
There's a camera back there to show you now. So now that part of the game has changed, and now that we have IG, where anybody with a certain follower account can even feel like a star, even the selfie in itself is an assault on the concept of stardom. If you got a photo of yourself in the foreground and The Rock in the background, who's the more important person in the composition
word.
of that photo?
Yeah.
So now this this idea of you're more important than me.
That's a jewel that just got dropped, by the way.
Yeah, this idea that you're more important than me and I support this. I could never be you. I grew up thinking, I'm like, I can't be Bill Cosby. That's Bill Cosby. I can't do that. I mean, if I could just share the stage with him. You got kids now, they're like, what? Fire it up. I'm funnier than this fool right here. And if he gets enough likes, enough followers, enough traction, enough viral, he's convinced himself.
He's right.
I figured out that, well, he's right in that piece of content.
Right.
He may not have a lick of professionalism and can't go repeat the process now on a script and with colleagues and collaborators. But the fact of the matter is he feels that way. So now the big word you hear in development is relatability. So, women of a certain side are now the lead because they are relatable. That wasn't, our business was built on two things. People that you imagine could be your friend or people you want to sleep with. If I say a celebrity, we'll play a game. If I even say a celebrity, you got to tell me what's the immediate impulse. Ben Stiller.
Friend.
Friend, right?
Yeah.
All right. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Friend,
right?
Yeah.
Halle Berry.
Sleep with. Yes. Yeah. No, I get it. No.
That's the way our business is actually set up to affect us in quick hits.
Right.
And you can try to let people know that you're more than that, and that's the challenge.
Right.
It's like, hey, I'm more than just the neighbor next door, or I'm more than just a sex object, But that's the way it was set up, man.
When did you retire from basketball? Was that after like somebody came along and bust? Because it was the whole thing, man. Was that
you
like
gotta chill with that
your
tone?
The whole thing was like there was always this thing, bruh. There was this thing.
I could
that,
tell
like,
it was bothering you
like
too. Man.
Jaleel Hoop, and like we would be in Louisiana champion at the bit. Like
Right.
I want to be on the court because I remember I watched.
And I had to play a lot of you dudes who wanted to just here comes the fake lockdown defense.
Cause
so my pump fake got nice just off of that. Because the
But and also I'll tell you something else. And I'm not a hater. I'm not.
You got a little hate in your heart.
I don't like.
I want to let you say psychologically you already messed up. I've learned some CIA stuff. As soon as you lead with "I'm not," you probably
are. But I will say that there are times I was gonna cop to this in life where I've hated. So I'm watching Fresh Prince and I'm watching you guys and I'm seeing these episodes where Will go for fucking 40 against.
That's Will. That's not me.
Well, you had the same shit where all of a sudden, like, Steve was like balling everybody up. That plus the NBA shit. Me and my brother was watching. This nigga think he can fucking hoop. and then we'll go straight to the park. And not even it'll be so ridiculous. We'd be busting other niggas' ass, be like, yeah! And tell Jaleel White if he wants some of this shit. No, you know what I'm saying? But like was it because now there is a competitive, like, I don't know if you want to call them influencers, celebrities, or whatever. Yeah. It's very competitive. Was it like that? Were you busting niggas' asses?
Oh yeah, no. Look, cats played, man. Are you kidding me, man? Like,
Who'd you play with? Who's
so
good?
I mean, it's cool when somebody doesn't know you.
Dean Cain.
Because I played Dean. Dean had a nice outside shot, and Dean was a D1 athlete too.
He went to Princeton. He played safety.
So when Dean was young, Dean might have got a hold of you, homie. For real, Dean.
I'll bust Dean Cain's goddamn ass.
Dean got fundos.
Dean got God damn it. I asked him about Dean Cain because I saw Dean Cain on Jay Leno. He was talking about how he played basketball
Talking about people real bad just because they ain't got a movie coming out this weekend. You got to be careful with that, man. Got to be really
man. Dean, like, look. Me and Dean disagree politically, but I saw him one time. He was a very nice guy.
Oh, that side. No, we talking hoops now.
Yeah. No.
Republican or Democrat.
I'm just saying, Dean was a very nice guy when I saw him one time. He came to me a party. But like, you guys were hooping against each other.
Oh yeah, we played on a lot all the time. I played with George Clooney. I played
That's what Dean was talking about. He was playing with on the thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was because then Jay Leno looked at him and said it was like the Justice League.
First of all, like I said, I probably spent too much time with my love for basketball. Like, my love for basketball is real. But you asked me a question we never got a chance to answer. You said, when did I retire? I don't think I've ever retired. I mean, if you want to go, we can go play right now. But I'm like, but I was probably about 34, 35, and I was at Crossroads over here in Santa Monica. They had a good run. I don't know if it still goes on. They had a good run though on the weekends, and a 24-year-old. And you know how you get that matchup? You know how you get that matchup where
I know exactly what he's talking about.
He's a little bigger than you.
Right.
But he doesn't. You definitively he's a little bigger than you, but
Right.
you would be insulted if somebody said he's bigger than you.
Right.
So there ain't no mouse in the house right now, right?
Right.
So I'm checking my man, and I have to admit, good looking kid too. Just chiseled,
Yeah.
you know, shit. Like
Look like he belonged there.
yeah, very much so.
Right.
And he's like, oh shit, man, I know you are. Well, you know, he does the whole recognize thing, and I'm like, yeah, all right, you know,
Yeah.
we about to play though.
Yeah.
And he gave me the quickest inside out, straight to the bucket,
Yeah.
2 points that
Right.
had ever been given to me.
Right. Yeah.
And
Made
it felt different.
Right. Because it felt like you knew how to guard it, but your body just wouldn't get there.
Yes.
I'm telling you, it felt
Yeah,
like
it was like
you
my
saw
legs were in the ground.
Bruh.
I was like,
Bruh,
you know
I'm
what?
telling you.
And he got there so fast. It was like,
bro.
when I tell you to move next time,
Right, exactly. You
when I tell you to move,
you saw it set up. You saw it.
right? That's what I'm saying.
saw it.
There was nothing fancy about it. It was just a boom, boom, gone.
Yeah, but you just couldn't get there.
And I just couldn't get there. And for the rest of the game, I felt him pulling away from me. Like, I'll never catch that car. I don't have enough gas. I don't have enough horsepower. I don't have, and it was. I felt bad. Like it was, and it didn't feel like I'm having a bad day. Like I'm having a bad shooting day or whatever. No, it's gonna fall, whatever. It was like wherever I wanted to be, he was already there waiting for me.
Yeah.
And I think I played one game, and then we had it was a crazy long wait, and I just did that kind of thing where I just quietly slipped out.
Yeah.
And I really didn't want to play anymore.
Right.
And I think I just subconsciously was like, you just don't go back there.
Yeah.
It's like if you got your ass whooped someplace, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't go eat at that spot.
No. You don't go back.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
No, you don't go back.
You got smacked up at a Chili's so bad that they had to resuscitate you. You know, they had to resuscitate you, right? If you're driving down the street with a girl, she's like, oh, I want to stop at Chili's. Be like, not that one, bitch. We're not stopping at that one. We're not stopping at that one, right?
You know what's crazy? It's like
Chili's didn't hit you.
I was on the court, and I always find some way to be useful, right?
Yes.
Like
You're smart.
Like
you know what? This is the problem I have with guys like him. He really does have, he has a war going on inside of himself with the dark side of the force. Like he's got hate in his heart.
No,
No, it's real. It's there. He's got hate in his heart, and he's working it out through all of these devices here that you afford him. But he's freaking brilliant.
right. Like but
You and I make observations sometimes, and I'll
Right.
see you on your show or whatever. Like, that's that Van Lathan being smart again. This dude is
no,
smart.
but like when you on the court, you trying to negotiate, negotiate your way through a game. You find some way to be useful. For example, if you
grab a board, lock down somebody,
lock down someone.
You know
if you're not shooting, maybe if shots are falling, get your pass game.
get your
on.
pass game, and encourage others. Be like, yo,
Encourage-
3 passes, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Everybody
Yeah.
get a touch right
like
now.
even sometimes what you just said. Even sometimes just being the fake ass team leader or the real team leader, because I'm a very vocal guy out there, is the way that you feel like locked, engaged into the game.
Right.
I remember, and I still play, but only like once a week now. But I remember going to somewhere and just like being up against a kid who this is the tougher thing. I grew him up.
Ooh.
He used to come into the gym
Ooh,
when
I
he
got a
was
big
like
face.
14. And this was like
Yeah.
when we first started playing around 2010, or he coming into the gym like
your
14.
idols become your rivals.
And then all of a sudden, I'm like, yo, he's really busting my ass though.
yes. So that's
And he had, and by the way, I was outmatched by this point. He had grown taller than me.
Yeah.
He had played his whole high school career, then gone and played college.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, I really can't fuck with him anymore.
no.
And that was the moment that I was like, it's a little bit different.
That's a tough moment for dudes.
Like it is. Like
Hey,
I
you
really-
see, I described that moment with that 24-year-old.
Same shit.
I know every beat of it, and he'll never know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he'll never know what. But it's like, even when you say you play now, do you play age appropriate ball or do you play ball?
the ball that I play now is I have a specific game where I can go look like LeBron.
Okay, so
Like, I have a specific. I have a specific. I have a specific game. The game is in Burbank.
I hate you.
I have a specific game where I can go and look like LeBron. I'm not fucking doing it. I'm not. You about to get me down.
Age-appropriate ball, and he didn't want to say it. You play age-appropriate ball.
No, I play skill inappropriate ball.
No, you play age-appropriate ball. Whoever you out there with is not on any night making you feel the way that younger boy made you feel.
Nope. Not as a matter of fact, the game is prearranged, and if I see somebody out there like that, I'll go to the guy that arranges the game, and I'll be like, "Yo, man, listen, I don't know if that guy should be coming back. Like, he was very harsh to play with."
A lot of haters have good smiles.
I've never done that.
And they're good speakers.
But I will. What I will say this though. What I will say this though
and
is,
haters.
and this is but this is a game because, like, you know, I played in leagues and stuff like that, and after a while, bro, it's tough going out there and not being able to do what you used to be able to do, man.
And that's what it was. I mean, I played in a million rec leagues around here.
Yeah.
I think the best game I ever played in, though, like in my life, I remember the best game, the most exciting game I ever played in was I filled in with Penny at the Memphis Fieldhouse.
Oh man!
So we at the Memphis Fieldhouse. We got Mike Wilson. We got a couple cats from the Globetrotters that just fly. They just in a real game they fly.
Yeah.
And I think the average height on the court was like 6'4" up.
So you playing with some trees out there.
Right. And so I knew stepping on the court, I'm the liability.
Yeah.
Like this guy's a little bit taller than me, and if they want to play mouse in the house games, it's gonna get grimy. And in the South, it's different. Every region has its foul calling etiquette.
We don't have no and ones down
exactly. So in the South, it's more of an attitude of who gonna be bitch enough to call the first
get
foul.
it out. I say it all the time.
That really is. It's
Baton Rouge, Louisiana, we get it out the mud.
Right. So it's like if you playing like 11 twos and ones, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what we were playing in the field to keep the game turned over quick. If a dude hits you for 2 shots, you the ass. You the booty.
Yeah.
Right? So, because that's 4 points out of freaking 11.
Yeah.
So I'm in this game, and Penny's out there, and Penny was always cool like that because I was on his team for a reason. But I think I threw like 4 lobs in one game. Oh
yeah, see. Yeah.
And I just got to the point where my favorite thing was always the outlet pass and just running the break. Yeah. That was always my favorite thing, just growing up as a Magic Johnson fan kid.
That's the shit.
You live to do this at recess for no reason. Right?
Yeah.
So I got 4 horsemen. I got Penny Hardaway and 3 6'6" and up.
So you just putting it in the air.
And after a while, I'm not even looking.
Right. They go, well, yo, you put it up there, they gonna go get that bitch.
I'm crossing, man, coming across the lane, knowing my trailer is right here, and I'm just like,
right.
I'll never forget the alley-oop to this day. So get a chance of playing games like that. I remember when Jordan had his dome, when he filmed Space Jam on the lot, summer '95. That's probably one of the greatest summers of my life. The national champions were the UCLA Bruins.
Toby Bailey.
Yeah, Toby and them, whatever. They were coming down.
Cameron Dollar.
Okay, all right, I'm impressed. They were coming down to the Warner Brothers lot and couldn't even get on the court.
Damn. God damn. In L.A.?
You talking about
that's
UCLA
crazy.
Bruins. They'll tell you. You talking about the UCLA Bruins fresh off the natty. Toby Bailey, 26 points. Hey, man, I'm a fan, and that's my fellow Bruin right there. But they would come to that lot, and it was so many NBA players. Hey, man, it's like we down a lot. It's 4-5 down.
Yeah. Did you ever bust anybody's ass that you could remember, even if it's a fluke, a game that you had that you just against somebody good? Well, not being disrespectful, but is there any one? What's your greatest? Like, you ever bust someone's ass?
You know, everybody can get caught. But the NBA E-League used to be this really amazing fraternity in this city, man. Like, if you really love ball, like I know you love ball.
I never got a chance to do it, bro.
If you had just gotten a chance to, like, now it's shit. I don't even know what it is. I mean, I hear they play at gyms or whatever and call themselves celebrities, but I'm talking like when the NBA sponsored it. It was a part of the NBA's outreach to the now we got Instagram, so they just look at your followers now and decide if they like you. But back then they had actual outreach. And so we got the official NBA uniforms for whatever team you were drafted to. They had a giant party the night before. And everybody was in that joint. Like when it first started, Leo was in it, and Tobey Maguire was in it, and
Oh wow.
and Brian McKnight, and
He
it
can
was,
really play.
yeah, and it was so that's why I was headed, and it was like all the brothers who could really play, Flex Alexander at the time, myself, Bill Bellamy, the Torrey brothers, every single person you would cross at a bar or in an audition was in this league.
Right.
And the games were awesome. Kevin Hart, whatever, you name it, Ice Cube. The games were amazing. I think they were ruined, honestly, by social media and the NBA deciding to move in a different, promotional path. But in that league, dog, I'm just like, I caught and got caught. I mean, Michael B. Jordan and I had heated battles in that league.
Really?
Heated battles in that league, but they were great heated battles.
Now Michael's boy Stilo can really play.
Yeah. Sterling's good.
Stilo can play.
Sterling's a good basketball player, but you have to hear Sterling tell everybody about it. While I'm saying, I prefer that we just play. You know what I'm saying?
I said, what was he from Chicago? I think that's at Chicago.
If I would have put it this way,
I think it's Sterling.
If I would have picked,
where you from, dog? It's my dog.
But if I would have a pick, Stilo or Jay Valentine, even at this age, I'm taking Jay Val.
I'm gonna be real with you.
I'm taking Jay Val.
Hey,
you heard me, Sterling. I said
it. Stilo thinks he is the best. He feels like I would say that he feels like he is the best celebrity hooper.
Oh my God! Well, again, that's why I made that face.
But Jay Valentine, you feel like?
No, as a point guard, I think Jay Valentine's he plays with Tank all the time. Tank was in the league too.
But is that the best celebrity?
Jamie Foxx.
Who you think the best celebrity hooper is?
The best celebrity hooper at the time was always Brian. Nobody liked to admit it because Brian's just.
Is Brian the best celebrity hooper of all time that you've seen?
I don't even like to say all time stuff. It's just I don't know.
Because that's one.
Maybe Humphrey Bogart was putting it down with somebody. I don't know.
But that's the one name that you always hear.
Yeah, no, Brian could play. It was just that, like I said, Brian carried himself with such cockiness that nobody wanted to admit it.
Right.
I'm that guy that's kind of like I can separate.
Right.
If you're really good, you're that good, and you deserve it. You deserve it. So Brian was definitely always one of the top two players. There was an actor at a time named Mark Blucas. Bad. Mark was a bad. Hey, listen, Mark was a bad white boy. Yeah, woo.
Word.
Mark give you 40 quick ones. Josh Duhamel could play.
Can I tell you somebody that can play that you might not think could actually play?
Oh.
You ever see Avatar?
Yeah.
So you know the skinny, nerdy dude from Avatar, Joel David Moore?
Oh yeah, no, he was in the league.
Oh, Joel could play.
Yeah, Joe's nice.
Joel. I mean, I think.
I won't put him in that category, but
he's not in that category.
No, he's not.
But when you see,
Joe can play.
But the thing about me and Joel is,
everyone was in this league.
But the thing about the thing about me and Joel is, if you ask Joel would say that I was much better than him. But I didn't think that Joel would be good. Like just looking at him, I didn't think. And then
that's funny.
And then he had to turn. I had to turn up on Joel.
There's another hater that I know who's brilliant, and that's Naeem Lynn. Do you follow Naeem?
I don't.
You should follow Naeem Lynn today. I
gotta be a hater?
Because Naeem Lynn is one of Kevin Hart's Plastic Cup Boys, and brilliant comedian. But he dark. I'll tell you, he dark. Like Naeem just always sees the burnt on the toast, not the toast. That's just where his mind just naturally goes.
Right.
And you have a real obsession with sizing people up.
I don't.
You do.
I don't.
You scan a person with your little robotic thing, and you either apply or detract abilities based on what you perceive initially. I look at a dude like him, right? As if we playing basketball.
I'm feeling like I'm a bust John ass. Dog.
Right?
If I see John, I'm feeling like I'm a bust John ass.
Oh, that's so typical black. Oh, that's so typical black. Oh, I'm looking at him and I'm like, if he's out here to play with us, if we're looking at a white guy right now, very white guy, long hair, Venice, everything, right? But if I saw him, I would first look at his gear, and then I would look at his gait.
Right.
His gait and his gear,
like
are gonna kind of tell me if he even has athletic ability.
Right.
All right. But if he's voluntarily out here to play with us and his gait ain't off, I'm gonna assume as a white dude he can shoot.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he might jump.
I don't know if he can get by me. I don't know if I'm gonna get any of this.
This is why.
But if he out here, he can shoot.
This is why
Don't leave this white boy open.
This is why I say. This is why I say. When the game starts, all I'm doing is competing. I'm not really thinking about nothing else. When the game starts, but before the game, you look and you
no. But again, because of my mentality and because of your mentality, he would whap your ass for 2 or 3 threes before you got it in your head.
I'm going to close out.
Yeah? You going to close out on game 4 and lose?
I'm going to close out.
After he hot?
I'm going to close out.
Look at he's shaking his head
on
me.
Man, I believe in, I believe in effort. Y'all, people get sick of me out there.
Yes, but I can tell the way you think. You give that effort based on who you think requires that effort.
I'm a winning addict, though, bro. I love to win out there, man.
Well, I hope you would adjust in time. Listen, like I said, I just had a different mentality. I grew up playing 8-1-8 basketball, where if 5 white guys walked in collectively at a gym, they're telling you by the fact that they're arriving together, we can shoot.
Right.
All 5 of us from deep. Right. Don't leave any one of us open. Another dude be like, oh, man, we ain't gonna get busted by these white boys. They'd be like, okay, we've seen white men can't jump. It was just a movie.
Right.
Let's step back into reality. In California, you will get your ass busted by somebody who doesn't look like they can bust you. Worst person who got me was Paige Kennedy.
Really?
Raunchy ass Paige Kennedy. And he knows it, and if Paige ever sees it, anybody tells it, Paige is going to laugh his ass off. Because, again, Paige is kind of got that Thanos build, that little compact butterball, you know what I'm saying? You know, you
Big
chunky
brother,
up top, right? So when you holding all this weight up top, I'm not thinking crossover.
Yeah.
I'm thinking you're going to try to lean on me. I came running out on him to this. If you asked who I got the worst, Paige crossed me up so bad. It's a joke amongst us to this day.
Oh, for real?
We could be 50-year-old men sucking on some ribs somewhere. Like,
remember that time I'll bust you? Let me ask you this. And this is, this has been a fantastic interview, but I want to know, there's so much that you've done that's in the past, right? You've had such success, as like we said before. How does a guy like yourself view the future?
Whew. The future, man. I think about it a lot. I really do. I think about the future and where things can go a lot. And that's because my daughter just changed me.
Yeah.
She really changed me.
How did your daughter change
She changed me at the molecular level, man. You don't even see, for me, you don't even see women the same. You just don't see them. You're like, something has to happen to you after you have a kid anyway, biologically. Right. You don't necessarily know what that's going to, if you have a certain character, you should know, but you don't necessarily know how you're going to feel about certain things. And parenting is just something that just became very passionate about, because all of a sudden I could see a lot of our world's problems through generations and generations of bad parenting. And a lot of people don't even feel responsible for what they put into the world. Like, I feel confident. I feel good as a dad, knowing I'm putting a good person into this world, right? So it's like, that always strikes me as weird when the shootings happened at the schools and stuff, and the parents had no idea that the guns were in his room I'm like, it's such an indictment of their home, of their family structure. It's like, you don't know your kid, what they're capable of. Like, I know almost everything my daughter's capable of. I'm just waiting to discover what her ability, skill sets could possibly blossom into. So as far as the future is concerned, though, authenticity is a very important word for the future. Me sitting right here chopping it up with you, we follow each other. You've said things that I've connected with, vice versa. And before you know it, it's like, I see this brother walking past me on the street all the time because he goes on his walk. Yeah. It's on my drive route. And that's a genuine, new, modern way to connect with someone now. People are making connections via the internet that are truly life-changing. Like, this is my soulmate now. This is so, so technology, stay on your tech game. I really want to get my daughter more into coding. That's really an aspiration I have for her.
One place where they really need the influence of sisters more, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm like, I remember one time, quick one, I went to see Toy Story. I came home and I told my dad, Dad, nobody's ever gonna want to see a movie, animated movie different than this again. This was amazing. And he's like, really, really, man, this is the most incredible animated movie I've ever seen. And Pixar was brand new then. Nobody had seen a Pixar movie.
Actually, I was confused.
Oh, I'm sorry. What you thought I was talking about?
No. Well, I was confused when I saw Toy Story. The
Really?
trailer. I was confused. I had never seen computer animation
Yeah,
before.
exactly. So it was like, but once you sat down for the story, it was like you were in awe.
Yeah.
And their feat was they made the first animated feature that wasn't built around music first. If a Toy Story story is just a story. There's no music all accompanying it like you would with the traditional watercolors ones. So I came home and I told my dad. I said, Dad, that movie was incredible. My dad went and checked the call sign on the NASDAQ and was like, oh, hey, they're a publicly traded company. And I was like, oh, Dad, we got to get some of that. Like, we got to get some of that. And so he went and bought a lot of Pixar, and that was on Pixar 1. And then the company just kept growing and growing.
What?
And growing. And then all of a sudden this sale comes up for Disney, and it was like, I called that as a kid, but because I'm product of hood parents, I didn't even understand what I saw. I could have been all in on Pixar so tough so early that I really honestly would never have to work again. And so now that we live in this we're going to see more changes in the next 10 years than the entire Industrial Revolution saw in 100. That's scary.
Yeah.
So what it means is you have to stay spiritually woke. You have to stay, you have to be authentic. People now, we have so many different ways, all these cameras, phones. I can't go to a restaurant now without somebody photographing me, without my permission.
How's that feel?
At first, there's a growing period. And then there's a day you just accept it, if you're smart, and you adjust your behavior accordingly.
What about when Lil Mama's with you?
As long as they're kept back,
Yeah.
I'm teaching Lil Mama to
Yeah.
accept it.
Right.
Matter of fact, she almost brought me to tears. She wrote an essay for her class, and she had to talk about her inspiration, and she picked me as her inspiration. And literally, I was reading it on the wall at open house, and I was like, I can't finish this. I'm about to start crying in front of these people. This is crazy.
Yeah.
And one of the things that she said she really loved about me is how I watch my daddy take pictures with people all the time, even when I know he doesn't want to.
Damn.
But he's nice enough and he does it. And it's like to see a 9-year-old recognize that in you. She's never commented. She's never said anything. If anything, she's pulled me, let's go. So that
But you know
that touch that really that got me.
you know what's so powerful about that is that seeing someone being gracious, right? There's a lot of conversation about
It's not common.
right. It's not, and kids realize that it's not common
Yeah.
because kids realize and interpret the behavior from their parents on a very, very spiritual level.
Yes, sir.
Like the ways that I am like my father are so ingrained into me.
Same.
Me and my dad grew up with
And
me
my mother
being in
too.
him. My mom as well. Like with me and my dad, we were at odds for a lot of time. And there'll be ways that I put my hands or things that I'll say to people or ways that people will tell me that I'm being towards them, and I'll be like, damn. How in the damn hell did this happen? But with your daughter, when she sees you being that way, that builds value in that behavior for her. Yeah. She sees you make their day. And by the way, if it were the opposite, it would build that value for her. And so I think a lot of times we talk about influences and what we should tell kids. But a lot of times we don't really talk about what we should show them.
It's only what you show them, man. You can definitely be. I enjoy being a sounding board. Like she and I have just such great conversations. And her friends. I'm proud to know the friends that she brings to my house to play. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I see the responsibility in parenting. My mom made a lot of mistakes, but damn, to come from the Crenshaw district, she did so much more right. And I thank her immensely. And there does reach a time. That's another thing about child acting. where the developmental phases kind of overlap with your parents, and it can get very weird.
Yeah.
And so I like now being a parent myself, and I can go back and appreciate my parents for the things that they did for me in 1979, 1982, when life was just so much different, dog. You didn't walk around this town just thinking you were going to become a star. It wasn't even, there were very few people that walked around feeling that way. For me, it was just always, I'll act to make some money to go to college.
Second to last question, because the last question is going to be about you. Second to last question. Would you be okay with your daughter becoming a little actress?
Whew. That one's tough. That one's tough. That's where I don't have an answer on that one. I really don't. I'm more obsessed with my daughter staying woke in any area where she is, especially when you're competing. So don't get it twisted. Acting is ferocious competition. And that's why when you put all those A-typers out there to play basketball, those games were amazing.
Yeah.
So it's going to be her choice. But if she goes anywhere near what I know, because I told her, everybody was like, I said right in front of her, and she just kind of threw me a look. So everybody say, oh, she should be in the business just like you. And I glibly just let it out. I said, no, she doesn't do anything on cue. And that's what I said. She just threw me a look, and I was just like, "You'll get it one day." And it's she's a girl, and women reserve the right to change their minds.
Right.
But as a boy, that was my talent. I didn't do it well. I did it on cue when you said do it.
Right.
And that's these millennial kids. They don't do much on cue.
Last thing. What else is that? What's after? What's after
historical roast?
Historical roast. No. Like what's after historical roast? By the way, I'm going to. He says this, but I'm going to watch this fucking show. You know what I mean? I'm going to watch this fucking show because I was.
Take some more of my edibles before you watch.
Right,
It'll be funnier.
I saw the thing with Jeff Ross and just the reaction of the crowd when he was talking to Fallon, because when he was talking about roasting certain people, people were like, "Hold on, a name just jumped in my head. Did y'all roast Anne Frank?"
Yeah.
Jesus fuck. Look at John.
Watch the Anne Frank one and watch the Mandela one first.
Because
I can't vouch for some of the others. I haven't seen all of them yet myself.
But they roasted Anne Frank.
Yeah, dog.
Look. See what I'm saying?
Yeah,
see that's the reaction.
It's like Jeff went so far past the line that it's absurd.
Right.
And people just bought in quick. So that's why I was a little nervous, because with comedy you gotta take risks, man, to get people's attention. I got asked to play Nelson Mandela, and whoever was supposed to play Muhammad Ali backed out on him. So I was on the freeway, and they called me, asked me to come back and play Muhammad Ali. So that's how I ended up doing both.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So what beyond the historical roast? What else?
Shoot, man, I'm all over the channel. I'm on a season opener of Raven's Home. Raven Simone's a good friend of mine. Yeah. Did 2 episodes over there. What else I got coming? I mean, I know this sounds crazy, but Google me.
Google me.
Google me. I got, like I said, it's coming full circle. You don't have those shows anymore, man, that everybody's watching. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got this over here, you got this over here. I do a lot of dates. There's some good stuff that's going to happen this year, too, but just like with Historical Roast, I kind of like to wait till the last minute, see it, and then I decide how hard I'm going to go for it.
That, by the way, very accurate.
Because you got to be authentic.
I asked him to do this podcast a long time ago, and he goes, you know what, one day when I have something coming out, I'm just going to hit you. And last week, he just hit me.
Yeah, because I don't want to, look, I'm just being real. Like, that's what I mean when I said, I'm trying to make myself more authentic as I get older.
All right.
And you don't want to push everything like that.
I feel you.
Sometimes they show you the finished product and be like, nah, okay, that's a check, we good. You know what I'm saying? But it was like, this turned out to be a tone right up your alley. Like, he would be interested to know what was done with that.
Yeah.
And then cool enough where people are liking it enough where I'm like, all right, go check out Historical Roast on Netflix. And then it's fun for me to be like, all right, that dude I see walking, getting his exercise all the time. Now, sliding his DMs.
Let's see what's going
rap.
on. White people, clap for
and
the
black,
amazing
and
Jaleel
black people
White.
with the last name White.
Yeah. We out, man.